Hey guys, welcome back. This is Alex. I'm coming here to bring you some stock news, some stock information. I just saw an article talking about Chamath and how he recommends not selling Tesla stock. And I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit because I also agree. And I just wanted to, let everyone know why it's a good idea not to sell your shares. A lot of people in the community, I think, feel the same way. So what we're talking about here is Chamath. Okay, he's a billionaire. He was on TV recently, and they asked him some questions, and he gave his explanation. He said, don't sell the shares. He said they could double or triple in a short amount of time, and I fully agree. Today, Tesla stock shot up 7.94%, and after hours, it shot up an additional 1.6%. So the stock is on fire. People are excited. People are looking at it, and they're wondering what's going on. And by the way, that makes Elon Musk officially the richest person on the planet with a net worth of $191 billion. That's a ton of money. And let's take a look at that stock chart real quick. You love to see it. All right, so we have a total of $816, 7.94% up, and it just looks like it's going straight up. It's insane. People are honestly, they're shocked and surprised. They don't get it. So if you look at today, we have that 1.65% move up, and it looks like it's kind of leveling out. And it puts them at market cap of $773 billion, getting really close to that $800 billion, which is pretty crazy. I remember when they were only at $500 billion, and that was a big deal. What's interesting about that is they're getting close to $1 trillion. That's something people talked about for a long time, and it looks like it's coming true. Now, what's interesting, in my opinion, is what Chamath said. He said,
I'm telling you right now, Scott, the big disruption that's coming is to power utilities. There are trillions of dollars of bonds, of capex, of value sitting inside the energy generation infrastructure of the world that is going to go upside down. And when that goes pear-shaped, Tesla will double and triple again. You get behind these people who have incredibly strong character, who know what they're doing, who aren't going to bend to short-term profits, and who are just going to drive the train for 10 or 20 years and make the world a better place. Get behind them.
So Chamath was saying, why bet against Elon? Look at all the things he's accomplished. And I say the same thing. Tesla's done so many great things. Selling the stock right now when he's not even brought you everything that he's been dreaming of, everything he's been planning, it doesn't really sound like a great idea. You're trying to time the market, and everyone knows time in the market doesn't work. People usually end up missing out. You miss out on your gains. If you don't believe in the vision, then yeah, maybe you should sell out. But if you do believe in the vision, obviously you're going to want to see it come to fruition. Obviously, the vision is bigger than what it currently is. And I guess you got to know what the vision is. So, Tesla has SpaceX. This he's launched and landed rockets. NASA couldn't even figure that out, and he did it. He has the boring company with the tunnels that he's making. These are just great ideas that people aren't thinking about. He's an idea generator. He also has the brain chip interface. He's going to connect us to the future. He's going to connect us to literally two computers, which just trying to value that is pretty hard, right? Like, the potential is insane. It's at least as good as a smartphone. It's way better than a smartphone. But when are we going to actually catch on with that? I don't know. We'll see. That's a future project, but he's got new batteries coming on the way. Everything great is coming out very soon. It's just hard to imagine selling a share of his company when he hasn't even actually brought you the stuff. Now, the only way you could do that is if you think that it's currently way overvalued and it's going to drop, it's going to fall. You could think that, but if you just think about why the share price is where it's at, that's where things start to make a lot more sense. Chamath mentioned the power utility business and how it's ripe for disruption, which totally makes sense. I totally agree. He's bringing us electric cars, electric energy, all this stuff. He's got power walls. He's harnessing electric energy from the sun. They're getting better at it. He's got plans to have solar roofs on like every house. At some point, you're going to buy a solar roof and never think about energy again. It's just going to constantly be created. It's going to be trading energy between houses that need it. It's literally going to bypass the energy business, and they make a ton of money. So there's a ton of market cap in there that he's just going to extract. You got to see that, right? You have to be around for that. Right now, you know, their market cap, it's at what's it at? 773 billion. That's a lot. It sounds like crazy numbers for where they're at right now. No one buys the stock for where they're at right now. Unfortunately, you got a lot of people thinking that the stock should resemble its current value, like what it's currently doing. That's just not always the case. Amazon is a growth stock. Tesla's a growth stock. They're both scaling. Tesla's scaling exponentially. So, you know, you have to be aware of that, because if you take a look at Amazon, they just never let up. I'll get more into that in a second. In 10 years from now, 2030, he wants to have 20 million cars sold. He wants to disrupt 1% of all gas cars per year. It was a goal that he was mentioning. And doing that makes sense. That I'm sure he'll start to tap into that market cap at that point. That's why this is such a long-term play. I mean, the real value is going to be had when he really gets a hold of all that energy, all that business. You know, when you were not paying power companies, we're just buying electric solar roofs, and we're just having those on our roofs. That's when you know he's disrupted that entire field, and that's where the market cap's going to come from. I mean, a big part of it. So, I mean, you know, if you're a short-term trader, you can try to get in and out, sure, but it's just, there's just too much growth potential to miss out on at this point. And lots of companies have gone up thousands of percentages, and everyone wishes they stayed in. So this is one of those companies that, like, you're going to wish you stayed in. I got plenty of examples, like Amazon. Let's take a look at it real quick. Amazon stock. This thing never let up much at all. You can see where it's at right now, $3,100 a share. It's got a $1.6 trillion market cap. That's pretty big. We all know Amazon. We all know how everyone needs them. Everyone's buying from them all the time, especially now. And check this out. So go ahead and try to find a dip bigger than 20%. 11% here. You got an 8 to 13%er here. You got a 25%er. That's like a big one right there. That was one of the bigger ones. And these are really tiny dips. This is a really tiny. This 25. 25% is a big deal for Amazon to drop. Right down here in 2014, you had a 20% dip. But it never dipped much more than that. And that's because everyone always saw the way it was growing. They saw how fast it was growing. And the second it dipped a little bit, people jumped in. That's the issue, I think, with Tesla stock. I think that you could see, when was there, they have big dip. They had a big dip right here because of the pandemic and all that. But besides that, these guys have not dipped much at all, just like Amazon. And there's a lot of reasons for this. I think it's because people disregarded the stock for so long. It was, you know, people were worried about it going bankrupt. So it stayed under their radar for a long time. They never thought it could just blow up and start exponentially growing until recently. But people knew about their potential plans a long time ago. Ever since they got to the Model S, I think, and they were talking about the Model 3, there was plans for this huge growth, and they talked about it and they planned it. And I started hearing word about it definitely around 2019. This is when I bought in, somewhere around 2019. And they had it all planned out. The Model S was going to come out. They were going to keep scaling, and they talked about the scaling. And if you believed in the plan, you were right. You got huge gains. Now that they're scaling, there's really no coming back from it. So back to what I was trying to say. So the deal is Elon wants to sell around 20 million cars in 2030. That is an insane number. If you just think about what that means. I mean, let's get the calculator out. So Tesla wanted to sell 20 million cars. This is 20 million cars. You know how much people like to add onto the price of the car. I think their average selling price around now is maybe 60K per car, something like that. I'm not really sure. But let's just say they had it at 40K. Because, you know, people are going to want to put on an extra this or that. And self-driving costs 10K. And there's actually a huge take rate for that, and it's getting better. So, I mean, if they got $40,000 average selling price for their cars, and they have a lot of different cars, in 10 years from now, this is the sales revenue right here. So we got, this is millions, and then this billions. So we got $800 billion of revenue in 10 years. That's insane, right? $800 billion, and we're already at almost $800 billion market cap. So that's the price to sales of one. But I mean, if we give them price to sales ratio of maybe like, why don't we try like 4? Let's just really conservative here. And we get $3.2 trillion. That's crazy, right? $3.2 trillion. That's right on line with what Chamath is saying, where he's talking about the company tripling. I mean, let's not forget that they want to have their energy business be bigger than their car business, like in the future. We don't know exactly when, but if you just look at how batteries are improving, I think the next 10 years is plenty time to get this solar business bigger. Maybe it's 15 years. I don't know. I'm not really sure about the timeline, but I know once they get it bigger than the car business, you're talking about doubling this stock again. I mean, just the car business could be worth $3 to $4 trillion, I think, in the next 10 years. So then double it, right? Now we're at like $8 trillion. Like, that's a lot from where we're at. That's like a 10x plus from where we're at currently. And then we're talking about autonomous cars, driverless taxis. That we don't even know how to value that. I don't think people actually know how to value that, because I don't know. It's a very high margin business. It's people are gonna stop buying cars. Like, not everyone, but at first it's going to be like people who already don't have a car. They're not going to buy a car probably if they don't need to. There's just a lot of people aren't going to buy cars in the future. But this year right now, 2021, we're going to be seeing way more about the Cybertruck, Tesla Roadster, 25K car. We got literally Tesla was talking about releasing full autonomous. He even talked about it 2020, how they're going to release it, and they did release a beta version that they released to a certain group. Now we're at 2021, and this could be the year, because they were just finalizing things. I mean, these things were already driving themselves. I'm seeing a lot of videos of people making full trips without touching the car. It's pretty amazing. And I'm expecting this year to be the year that we see full self-driving come out somewhere. Maybe they come out to the masses with your supervision. These are all huge catalysts that are coming out right now in this year. So why would you sell right before all the coolest stuff happens, right before the big stuff happens? Selling now? I mean, I get that it's overvalued, but right around the corner, you got huge catalysts, huge. I'm curious. I want to see, you know what I mean? What happens to the stock when all this comes out? Because, just the car business itself could be a multi-trillion-dollar business. Yeah, so you really can't take a chance and hope that there's a dip or sell and hope that it drops, because it might not dip. And then when you sell out, you don't get any of the future gains. And I mean, we don't know how far this company could go. We know that it could very well go to a couple $1 trillion. That is a decent gain from here. So, I mean, you're going to be missing out on at least a decent gain. But it could be even bigger than that. We don't know. Everyone always wishes. You look at the stock market, you look at the past, and you go, man, if only I would have known that I could have bought Coca-Cola stock or whatever it is and held it for its entire life, and wow, look where I would have been now. Most stocks continue to grow. Tesla stock, I think, is just like that. They definitely haven't hit their peak. And I think anyone selling out of a stock that's this great, grown this much, I think they're going to be sorry about it. I think they're going to miss out on a lot of gains, and I think it's best to just hold it until it gets to at least, a real maturity level. You know what I mean? Not to mention the dividends this company might pay out one day. It could be insane. I mean, if you would have held Coca-Cola stock all the way through its growth until it started paying huge dividends, the dividends paid more than the initial investments by far. You can have a living off of just Coca-Cola dividends. I mean, think about Tesla. When they stop growing, their dividends might be amazing. I mean, don't you want to see if they ever get to dividends? They're in businesses that pay dividends. Other car businesses pay dividends. Energy businesses pay dividends. Tesla could very well pay dividends. I mean, I would want to see that. I think Elon said something like full self-driving enables each car sold to be worth like $100,000. So it's like cars sold times the present value of full self-driving, which is like $100,000 per car or something like that. So you're talking about like every car sold is like $100,000. I don't know exactly how that calculation worked out. We can play it out really quick just for fun. So if they sell 20 million cars in 2030, and this is just 2030, don't forget all the other years that they sold cars. I mean, who knows? It's a bigger number. But if you just take 2030 and you multiply that by $100,000, you get this number. So this is millions, this is billions, and this is trillions. So you get $2 trillion off of just the cars sold in 2030. Okay. So what about all the other years that they sold cars? But yeah, just the cars sold in 2030 alone times 100,000 is over 2 trillion, which is it's a good gain from here even. I wonder if Elon meant that the solar business will be bigger than the car business, even with this way of valuing their cars sold at $100,000 a car or so. Because that would be ridiculous, right? That would be just ridiculous. So I don't know. I'm just guessing Tesla's going to be worth anywhere from 1 to like 10 plus trillion dollars in the next 10 years. That's my guess. I'm definitely optimistic and I'm definitely open-minded to anything that could happen. So unless they get to at least a couple of $1 trillion, I'm definitely not selling. And I'll continue to value what I see as it comes. Solar is going to be bigger than the car side of Tesla's business. Yeah, that's insane. Solar is currently almost nothing. That's another thing. Speaking of solar, we got to check this out really quick. We got to check this out. So, this is Hypercharts. Love this site. We got the energy business. It's just a small fraction of the car business right now. So, they have a long way to grow. And then right up here, we got services. That's probably going to grow like crazy as well. These are very tiny still, which is insane. And on top of that, you got vehicles delivered. This is Q4 2020. Check this out. Model Y is still just this tiny little chunk right here. That's insane, right? Because Model Y is going to be bigger than Model 3 for sure. Yeah, so you can see that energy and solar is so tiny still, and it's going to grow like crazy. We got tons of potential. So yeah, just to break it down, just to conclude, that's why I'm not selling any Tesla shares. That's why I think Chamath isn't going to be selling any shares. And I just think that a huge portion of Tesla investors, they're really interested in this stuff. They take a lot of interest because just to get into Tesla stock, you have to be pretty interested in learning about it, I feel like. So yeah, they're very aware of this, and that's why they're probably not going to sell. That's also probably why the stock keeps running up. I think Tesla was undervalued for a long time, and people didn't really notice it. And now that it's in mainstream media over and over again, being hammered at you and how much they're growing, it's really going to be tough for them to get out of the mainstream view. It's going to be tough for them to go into hiding. Like, it's not going to happen. That's why I don't think it's going to dip massively, because the second it dips, you're going to have a ton of people buying in, and the stock's going to shoot right back up. You know, I have a hard time believing it'll drop below 20 to 30%. Like, doesn't seem likely. It just doesn't seem likely. That's my opinion on Tesla stock and why you shouldn't sell. I hope that helps. You know, I hope that provides you some information. I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. This is just my opinion on the Tesla stock currently and Tesla in general as a company. I think they're awesome. I think that great things are coming. I think most of the exciting things are still to come, and people are just getting wind of it. And it's hard to take in, but you have to remember that Apple was not always a huge $1 trillion company. They were way smaller. They had tremendous growth. Their iPhone took off like crazy. People didn't even think it was just a computer company, a very small computer company. And the second they came out with the iPhone, their stock went like crazy. They took huge market share of cell phones. Many cell phones went out of business, and they became a $2.2 trillion company. And they're just flying through the roof right now. They're doing amazing, and they continue to grow. They continue to pay dividends. Everything is great for them. So, I mean, like, I think it's a great comparison as a company that took large market share and dominates with just, they're not even really innovating. They're just doing it better than everybody else and providing a lot of value. I think Tesla's providing insane amounts of value. I think Teslas are providing so much more value to the consumers compared to a regular car that it's really hard to take in, because, you know, Apple versus other cell phones, they're all cell phones. Apple was just a better cell phone. You know, they had other smartphones even, but Tesla is literally an electric car versus a bunch of gas cars. And it's not just an electric car, it's an electric smart computer that drives itself that keeps getting way better. So it's already like, in my opinion, it's like 2 steps ahead of everybody. You know, they can't even get off of gas that easily. These guys are already way off of gas with a great product that's making money. And they're going to become a full self-driving computer with like extreme data that's just, they're going to be so far in the lead. They're going to have a huge market share, and that is going to create a huge valuation, and a lot of car companies are going to struggle, unfortunately. And so that's my opinion. That's why I'm not jumping out of the stock. That's why I wouldn't recommend anyone jumping out of the stock if they asked me, and I'm excited about it, and I hope this video helps you. I hope this video provided entertainment. Hope you had fun. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. I'm going to start posting a lot of videos. I'm excited to bring you a lot of content, and we're just going to keep moving from here. And until next time, guys, peace.